This is Perspectivas Latinas, a community service of CAN TV. I'm your host, Juan Carlos Hernandez. Student Career Empowerment works to build bridges between underserved students and the business community by working to place students in customized internship experiences to help prepare them for the workforce. Our guests, Arsemiris Galva-Batista and Cynthia Patiño, are here to talk about this important work. Welcome to both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, thanks for coming out. Let's start by getting to know you just a bit. What do you do, and how did you become part of this organization? Cynthia?
Sure. I am currently a senior majoring in business.
Where?
At North Park University.
Mm-hmm.
I met with Arsemiris just last year through a friend, and I was looking into like internships, something to do with my career, and just to expand. I guess I didn't know what to do at that time. So I was looking for guidance, most importantly. Yeah.
And you found it?
Yes, definitely. I found it, yes.
And how did you find out about the organization?
Yes, I received an email from a friend, from a classmate at that time, just last year. And she mentioned an internship opportunity. So I took the initiative to seek Arsemiris, sent her an email, and just kind of I let her know. I tried to let her know my interest in completing an internship.
Great. Arsemiris, thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me here.
Yeah. Tell me about how you became part of this group. You're one of the founders, right?
Correct. So we started in 2010, but the story behind it all, it started with my own experience graduating from college. And
your own story.
My own story. Graduating from college and being faced with the real world and thinking that I was going to find a job right after college. That was not the case. It wasn't until after 5 months.
5 months.
That I was able to find a job. And that was through experience that I have done during school with a research project. So that's how I was able to obtain my first job. Once my sister was in college, her second year, I remember telling her, well, we need to find you an internship so that you could gain that experience that you need. A lot of the jobs out there require 2 years of experience. We were able to find her 2 internships. Both started non-paid. They turned out being paid internships. The last one actually was the one that offered her a full-time job. Once that happened, it was like the green light to, yes, this is something that we could do with other students to help alleviate the process of thinking, when am I going to find this job?
So during those 5 months, when did the light bulb go off? Well, I needed to do something, or something was missing, or something?
It was literally the 5th month. I just thought to myself, okay, I need to think outside the book. And I started thinking about things that I had done in the past, kind of just selling myself. And that's when the idea came out. What if I talk about the research project that I did? So,
what research project was that?
I did a research project with gestational diabetes for women, and I was able to find my first job was as a case manager working with pregnant women, so it correlated.
Wow. So you had to do this. You figured out that it was something that was needed in the community. Who were those first people you gathered, and how did you come together and finally say, okay, let's not just make help these people connect, let's actually do something more formal?
Well, it started when I started creating the business plan. I did a research project in the community just to see if there was a need. I wanted to prove to myself that yes, this was something that was needed. I had forwarded the information to my cousin who's a dentist, and as she was reading it, that's how she became engaged into the program, and she wanted to be a part of it. My sister, by default, because she was the person that I used to make sure that this project actually will work, we are all the co-founders of the organization, and that's how it came to be about and getting people on board.
So it's a bunch of Dominicanas coming together.
Yes, and family oriented. Yeah.
Wow, so family coming together. And what other women have attached themselves to this group now?
A lot of our students. It's been a lot of word of mouth, like Cynthia said. Our first students were, one was a family member, the rest were just all students that just by me networking and meeting individuals, the word just started spreading about the organization and the services that we provided.
Okay, and so it was mainly through networking that people connected to you, and then word of mouth. Like she said, she received an email from a friend. How did your friend find out about this organization?
She was mostly a classmate, and I never had the chance to ask her how she knew about student career empowerment, but yeah, I'm pretty sure it was by the word of mouth as well.
Okay, and so you're growing now, and as you're looking to connect students with businesses, how difficult or how easy is that process? Is it something you do very quickly, or it takes time to like interview the student, find out what's going on? Tell me about that process.
Well, the process of finding a placement for the student really starts when we do the career coaching. Once we do the career coaching, that's when we're able to identify the students' desires, like what place they want to actually do the internship at. But right now, at this moment, we're working with specific organizations and companies and trying to just narrow it down so we have a place to just automatically send our students to. So it's actually made it a lot easier. Before, it was a lot of cold calls, just calling companies and organizations and just letting them know of our organization and what we do. We still do that, not as much though, because it is a lot harder.
So when you'd make a cold call, what would people say?
You know, it's funny because a lot of them were just very open. Others would just tell you, right now we don't have an opportunity, but we were able to place a student at Rush University through a cold call.
Wow.
At Casa Central, which was Cynthia, through a cold call. So, yeah.
So are you finding that colleges and universities, I'm sure that you can't speak for all of them, but that there is maybe some lack of communication or reaching out to students and telling them, well, you should really think about doing an internship and you should come to our office? What have you been
I believe
hearing?
It's from the student's perspective, it's just that they don't receive that individualized attention. Now I'll speak on the behalf of the universities. I think it's just too many students and not that much staff to actually provide the services that are needed and actually give that individualized attention to the students. So I think that's where we come into place. We're able to help the students and give them that one-on-one attention and really identify the need of that student and helping them in the areas that they may need, like interviewing, resume, or career coaching, or just learning their communication style.
So tell me about, well actually I'll come back to the point of career coaching, because that's a really interesting point, and I think that's something that should begin even in high school, early high school, right? Just to get people thinking about what they want to do. But Cynthia, you became part of this organization. Tell me about that experience. What has it meant to you? How do you feel you've grown? What have you learned?
Yes. Well, honestly, I'm the first one to graduate, to attend school for my family. So having student career empowerment, there to provide me with the skills, I feel I've grown a lot, not only professionally but personally as well.
How so professionally and how so personally? Tell me about those two aspects.
Sure. So student career empowerment, when I initially seeked help, they helped me with interviews, how to prepare for an interview. They assisted me with how to write a resume, what questions to ask, how to dress for a job interview. They kind of give you the guidance and the mentoring.
So do you like mock interviews with them?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so that was on the professional side, with resume writing, coaching with interviews, with helping you think about what questions to ask and how to dress, which is, I think, great and it's helpful. But you also said it's helped you on the personal side, this organization.
Yes,
how so?
I feel much more confident, much more positive about myself and my skills. So I feel I've grown so much, just from last year.
Really?
Yeah, I feel much more like I'm ready for the world, pretty much. Yeah.
Well, that's good to hear.
Yes.
Where did you do your internship?
Yes, I did my internship at Casa Central.
Mm-hmm.
I was there for close to 8 months. Once I completed my internship, Arsemiris contacted me about and like another internship with Erie Neighborhood House.
So you interned at both places?
At both places, yes. I was there for close to a month.
At Erie
Erie Neighborhood House, yes.
What did you do at Casa Central?
I worked with the HR department along with the quality improvement department. I assisted during that time. They had like a safety campaign going on, so I assisted them with that, along with clerical work in the department as well.
And then you went to, did you do the same thing at Erie Neighborhood House?
At Erie, yeah, I worked closely with the benefit coordinator. It was during the time of open enrollment for benefits, and so I assisted her with that. I was there for close to a month.
Oh, and before the show, you mentioned that you kind of, because of your experience in the internship at Casa Central and Erie Neighborhood House, you kind of switched career paths, right?
Yes. Well, just before I wanted to teach. I wanted to become a teacher.
Nothing wrong with that? Nothing wrong with that?
Oh no, nothing at all. And I was given an opportunity at my previous job, like an office manager, and that's how I kind of like what I was doing. I was doing some hiring and so on. So the internships
Just
kind of
kinda
just feel like,
solidified.
okay, this is what I want to do.
It just showed you like,
Yeah.
this is definitely where
Yes.
I need to be going. Teaching was a good thought, but this is because of
Yeah.
my job and now this internship, this is where I'm going to
Yes,
go.
definitely.
Wow, that's actually good to hear. And I guess that comes along with the career coaching. Tell me why you think that's important and what happens. Maybe I'm a college student that was like her maybe and was thinking, well, I want to go and become an accountant maybe or whatever, but I don't know exactly. I'm kind of lost. Where do I go? How do you step in and
So with the career coaching, there's different areas that we touch upon, and what we do is more of a holistic approach. So we touch upon finance, your career, your personal, as far as health, your spiritual. So we create goals on each of those categories. Off of that, we're able to determine, okay, what area this person is actually really interested in. From that, we create a vision statement.
a vision statement?
Yeah.
So you with this person, or they do it by themselves?
We create it for the student
Oh, you
off
do?
of what the information
Oh,
that we
wow.
obtain through this career coaching process. The student reads it for as long as they want. I usually recommend 30 days just because of the way we think as human beings. When you see something in paper and you're constantly reading it, you begin to believe in that. And I think that's what happened in Cynthia's case. Her goals came to life. She wanted to graduate and actually already prior to that have a job, to be able to devote more time with her family, with her child. And she accomplished that. She was able to obtain a job way before graduation time, and now she's able to give that time to her daughter. Being exposed to the internships and really being in the workforce, it gives you that opportunity to identify and say, this is actually what I really want to do, or maybe not. In her case, she was exposed to quality improvement and HR. From that, she was able to determine, this is the route that I definitely want to go through.
Right.
So, and I think there's one of the questions that also come out in our career coaching. I always ask the students, if money did not exist, what would you be doing in life? And you get a lot of different responses compared to what they're going to school for.
Oh, really?
So that's when I'm like, okay, so let's really dig in deeper and see, why is it that you're not following your dream and going towards the other option? Is it money? So
give me an example. Well, she's certainly, kind of and kind of not.
kind of not.
Right.
We actually have a student. She wanted to do psychology. She's an amazing drawer. She knows how to draw beautifully, and she creates amazing designs. And I told her one day, are you going to become a graphic designer / psychologist? And I told her, you have a gift. You should really embrace it. We were able to place her in 2 internships. She does a lot of graphic design for us and for another company, and she's just been growing in her field, and she's barely a freshman.
Wow.
So I told
That's
her,
awesome.
if you already have the gift, by the time you graduate, you're going to be an expert. We matched her up with a mentor who his background is also in graphic design, and she's just been learning along the way. So that's an example of how when you are actually passionate about something, but you think because your parents tell you do something else, you're juggling, and you kind of want to fulfill your parents' desires.
To some extent.
To some extent.
Right.
But a lot of the students do go down that route, and they kind of do what their parents tell them to do. In this case, even her mom was like just thankful. She's like, wow, I couldn't just seeing the stuff that my daughter was producing, I was amazed. And I'm like, she's a gifted child. We should really embrace the knowledge that she has.
So the career coaching you gave me a great example of how it can help an individual really uncover their gifts and think about the direction of their lives. But how does a session happen? Do they sit down with you or a group of people, and then, or do they fill out a form? You said it's holistic. So tell me how it's.
The fact that it's holistic is that we touch in different areas of a person's life. Like I said, the spiritual, finance, their careers.
But just give me an
their
example
health.
of how that works in the spiritual. I mean, do you tell them go to church?
No, it's actually not the case. I know a lot of people, as soon as they hear spiritual, it's really what that person defines as spiritual.
Okay.
Whatever their belief system is, if they feel that that's a need, they're going to choose that as a goal that they want to set for.
Or to grow in that area of their lives.
To grow in that area and to actually set a goal in that area. If it's a person that does have that religious background, it could be going to church once a week or twice a week. And they set those goals, they set their deadlines, and we provide follow-ups to make sure that they're actually accomplishing these goals. Yeah.
And then for finance, how does that area
I remember one student that I spoke to, her goal was to raise $1,000. I think when we followed up again, she had raised a little bit more, and it was actually to pay for school and her expenses.
Wow.
So it's, it's little things like that later on pay off. You get used to actually creating goals for yourself and giving yourself deadlines, kind of like you're your own boss.
Wow, yeah. So it's spiritual, financial, what other areas?
Health and wellness, emotional.
Emotional. So, wow, those are huge areas. Health and wellness. Again, you ask them to set goals or go run a marathon?
Is this a marathon or just simply working on becoming a little bit more healthier? I think for Cynthia, that was one, if I'm not mistaken, just going to the gym. Yeah.
You were going to the gym very often?
I started going to the gym.
Because of the coach?
Yeah, because sometimes you just need, something to keep you going, something to motivate you. Like the vision statements, I would read it like every night. Next morning I'm like, okay, I could do this. I'll read it every night again. And
wow.
So yeah. So.
Well, that's really, it sounds like very nurturing culture and philosophy that you're helping create here.
Right.
Well, I'm like thinking just, wow, I need to be a part of a group like this. Excuse me. So now getting to the business side of it, what organizations, businesses have you connected students with? I know you're still growing and developing, but tell me, give me some examples. Like we have Casa Central, obviously, and Erie Neighborhood House. Who else?
Our first organizations and companies that we worked with, I remember, was Rush University, Willis Counseling and Consulting, and then that's when we started going into Erie Neighborhood House, Casa Central, Social Enjoyments, Poses with a Purpose. Those have been the organizations that we've been primarily, and companies that we've been working. Some of them are startups, so some of those names you probably won't recognize. But because of for startups, there is a need. There is a need to have an extra hand. So that's when the interns come into place. Okay.
And what are your recommendations? Well, you've given some already, but for somebody that's kind of afraid of doing an internship or thinking, geez, I don't know about working for free. I don't know, it's going to be kind of tough. Somebody that might be on the fence and is really unsure about what to do.
One of the things that has helped me a lot has been giving my own experience. Just kind of like, being honest. You graduate from college and yes, you expect this, American dream, you're going to find a job. You have your degree.
Right.
but you have to go far beyond that. Aside from that degree, that paper, what else
Right.
can you offer? And that's when I always recommend you need to build your skills. That's when you just need to build that resume.
Right.
So that when you go out there, you're able to sell yourself and say, I have my degree and I have my skills.
Okay, yeah, that's definitely important. Tell me about how the mentoring process, you've kind of spoken about that, works during the internship process. You assign mentors or from that company or from the organization? How does that work?
We are trying to incorporate matching students to different mentors. At this moment, it's been the career coach that they're assigned with. In her case, it was myself. Other students get assigned to different career coaches, and they're the ones that kind of mentor them along the way. If it's in a field that it doesn't really align to that person's background, then we outsource. Kind of like the example of the student with she's now doing graphic design. I matched her with someone who has a background in graphic design.
And not necessarily somebody that was part of, they weren't part of your group at all, you said.
No, they've actually provided us just help. As we're a startup, they do a lot of our flyers. So I'm like, well, there could be some sort of, matching process here. So.
Right. So you're also hoping to connect more people, right? More people that might, and not just women, right? Obviously, but men who out in there in the business field or nonprofit field or a creative field because of the graphic design, might be willing to lend their time and their experience to you.
Right, and it's something that's very valuable to our students as they're learning, just to have someone there to support them and guide them directly in their field of study.
Okay. Now, you're looking to grow, right?
Right.
So what's your, talking about vision, a vision statement, what's your vision for taking student career empowerment in a bigger and a more connecting direction?
That's a really good question. People always say that I think big. My goal is to take student career empowerment nationwide, looking into New York, Miami, Los Angeles. So that's the big picture. Hopefully we're able to help students in those states as well and, branch out to other states.
Okay. And for you, Cynthia, what's your vision of your own career going forward?
Yes, well, I want to keep on growing. I'm actually looking into schools to get my master's in human resources. So,
Wow.
Yeah.
That's great. And yeah, this is now definitely the final question. What moment best captures student career empowerment for you, Cynthia? What moment in your experience this past year or so?
A moment?
Yeah.
I would say when I got my job offered as an HR assistant not too long ago.
Okay.
That's when I was like, okay, student career empowerment went above and beyond, to assist me to grow my skills, and it was an amazing feeling, honestly. Yes.
And for you?
I think there's been numerous moments, but the one that kind of stands out, I think, and can I mention two?
Sure. We still have a bit of time.
The first one is definitely every time I hear a thank you from my students. It, for someone, thank you may not mean a lot, but for me, it means like I just want $1 million to actually be able to help another individual in their career path. Receiving our fiscal sponsorship this year, it meant like we're going somewhere. Student career empowerment is actually moving forward. Receiving that fiscal sponsorship it just meant a lot to us.
Wow. Well, congratulations for all of that, and thank you for coming in. We're out of time, and congratulations on all you do.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us here.
And to your audience, thank you for joining us. Perspectivas Latinas is a community service of CAN TV. If your nonprofit organization would like to work with CAN TV, call 312-738-1400 and ask for nonprofit services. Tune into Perspectivas Latinas for local issues and concerns every Thursday at 8:30 p.m. on CAN TV 21. I'm Juan Carlos Hernandez. Thank you for joining us.